This is why the coach is never wrong, because when this
there, at the end of the roof.
On the last. Wakefield. You can see below and outside of projects, we also do technical assistance where we provide
Yeah, just sat there and be quiet, yeah.
So it's easy to be you,
It's easy to be me, yes.
unless you
It's
know.
really not that easy to be me. I have a lot of people who disagree with that.
Actually, I don't know, we met.
Yep, I don't think so. You were here one meeting, John Brown.
Yeah.
Yep. You were here one time.
He just assumes everybody knows him,
Yeah, well.
because everybody does.
Yeah.
Imagine.
You think,
You guys don't want to know.
that was the same thing. I was just about to do that, I just got here. You can do it. Oh, she's not coming. I looked at where this property was, and then where the sidewalk is. No thanks. No, on Bodyman Road, that's a dirt road.
Oh, that's a good one.
Actually, it was paved.
Was it?
Yeah,
I never been.
one of the easier ones.
Wow.
It was way up there.
So who was at the sidewalk?
Me and Paul.
You and Paul?
Not when he first made. George didn't come in until. What you got? Did they pave in front of your store?
Mine, I paid mine when I did it, that strip, and then the people, the communications people, they did a strip, and now, the dock guy, he just, I don't wanna say it, but.
I went by today and I was like,
It's a giant thing. I'm thinking my grandson out there on his go-kart, but then I wasn't. I don't say that out loud. But no, they spent days prepping it, pounding it. My builder was shaking. I mean, gravitary roller, and they took us all down. Lost. My kids just spending it like it's candy. I guess that's good. You know, you
Yeah,
have a plan.
he has been a little entrepreneur since he was.
Right, he's done really well, and thin, I tell you the paper thin, but I don't tell you you can't have a sticker. That's just my way of doing it. I got a guy in the shop that thinks he's specking, it's gotta last for, but the law actually says at the time of the inspection is what we're supposed to be doing. So we call it sticker nonsense. They look too hard for stuff, you know what I mean? I mean, it is good selling tool, don't get me wrong, I mean, you can sell a ton of work.
Exactly, no.
That's what a lot of people are upset about, so I like
Yeah,
it.
I know the small guys don't go out.
No, I know. So we do, I don't know what the number of stickers for us, but it's substantial.
There are businesses in Austin that just doesn't.
Yeah.
They're
Long
closed.
distance.
They're closed. I went by it the other day and there was a,
They're not gonna have a store?
yeah, sticker station or something like that. It's called.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I don't want somebody driving down the road towards me with a tie rod in or a ball joint that's gonna fall. Nobody does, nobody does.
And then buying a constant language.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're gonna see, I mean, there's already some junk in the road already. You got people putting different colored construction paper in the car to say please don't catch them, but that's, some stuff still gonna go on, it's gonna be a lot easier for them.
Oh, it's gonna be more easy. I don't think it's easy.
Right, no, I know. I hate the emission stuff, the check engine light stuff, I'm not really sad, because we're not gonna do it for all that, that's a thing. We'll see. I don't know, I'm just like, I don't know how many years there's been these special stickers, long time.
Not like it.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. That's why I'm amazed that everybody.
There's so many states still doing it. Well, look at Florida. We talk about that fast, I live on Florida. Look down there, you know it's just unbelievable.
Police never pull a car over there.
We'll see what happens, I don't know.
All of a sudden, they have all these stickers.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue to do whatever people want done, so.
Are you still able to buy?
No, that's the problem they make for, look at the trucks, they make a sticker that you can put on a truck, that says you did an annual inspection. I don't know, maybe somebody will come up, I'm sure there's gonna be a company out there that comes up with something. I mean, the state police, so if you have a good truck, and they pull you over on the side of the road, and they go through the whole truck, they'll put a little triangle sticker right in front of the windshield that says they inspected it, and then the next guy sees that and has less chance, still can pull you over and still go through the whole thing. That's less chance. And I had, last year, I had to come out with my two new trucks, they come out over at my shop, and a lot of the little stickers on there, I like that, not all of them.
Yeah.
They used to, when Carl Huddleston and Eddie Shanahan, they'd come to my shop and they'd put stickers in the whole fleet. But they said they can't do that anymore. I don't know, maybe it's the time, the troopers get used to it, you don't want them to do roadside. So they said just, when you drive by the like this, pull you over and do it. So.
School buses will not be inspected.
It's still gonna be, I'm sure there's still gonna be a school bus inspection. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. So, to say the least.
Well, I just passed, last week, and, got an inspection sticker on it.
Well, a lot of police officers saying they don't care, but if the state trooper pulls you over, or whatever, they're still gonna let you take it.
Well, that inspection sticker that wasn't going to, that you really cut the water in, May, but that inspection sticker is good May,
Yeah, it needs to be, okay,
16 months, right? Well said.
can't go wrong with that.
They just took it down to make sure it was fine.
Good evening.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. missing a couple members. So, Priscilla, you'll be one of our regular.
Okay, I'm sitting in for which one, Judy or?
Take a pick,
I'll sit in for Judy.
Okay.
Female.
and George can be for Robert.
Yeah.
Always Robert, do you have his surgery?
I don't know.
All right, we have one application, and all the requirements for the application, I assume, are fulfilled, and it's been accepted. So the application is complete enough to proceed, I assume.
Yes, all fees have been paid and
Okay.
notices have been sent.
All right. Then, the next thing we should do is to ask our applicant to, if you have a copy of the application with you?
I always said multiple.
That's all
You
right.
can come right up here and hold
Yeah,
that.
sit down if you have.
That's okay.
Yep. And we're going to go through, have you go through the application, and at each part, on page 3, starting with number 1. We'll just ask you to read those.
Yeah,
Yep, one at a time, page 3, section 1.
proposed use would diminish surrounding property values, but would not diminish, well-designed, not an eyesore, and limit outside viewing of location. When Steve and you all looked, the neighbors have a fence right there, their privacy fence, and it would just come off the, what I believe is the north side of the, actually the south side of the upper deck, and it would land, but Steve had some good recommendations of moving it back. And I can definitely concur with that. Number 2, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest, because it would be beneficial for the first responders and public community, much easier to get to the upper deck exit, which is currently right now we only have one in and out. It's a confined space, the upper floor. It's a second floor, and what sparked the whole thing to come up with an egress, safety egress, is there was pine trees, and we had that big storm with limbs had fallen down. My wife happened to be up there. She's elderly, like us all, and she went to go out, and the branch had stopped the only egress, the only way out. So she called my son. Thank God he came up, and our son moved the branch out of her way. I mean, it wasn't an emergency or anything at the time, but it still, she couldn't get out the door. So that's what started this whole process of thinking, we only have one way in and one way out. Perhaps it would be a good idea to have an egress to, out onto the upper deck, a way to get down. We thought of multiple things, spiral stairs and so forth, and we I had a, like, I'm a ship guy, I don't know if I've 20 years plus in the Coast Guard, been on multiple ships. We had a Jacob's ladder, what you would call it. So I acquired one of those, but my wife is like, no bloody way am I gonna go try to. So that ended that discussion right there. So that's why, so I moved forward with trying to get a ladder, stairs. All right, 3, granting the variance would do substantial justice because it would enhance the safety, emergency egress from the second floor of the in-law apartment that we live in. And if someone had to respond, fire department, there's 2 ways in and out, if the stairway was granted. The use is not contrary to the spirit of the ordinance because the stair landing will be approximately, and I'd say approximately, because I wasn't sure, because now the water level is way out now. Where before, in the springtime, when I initially started this whole process, where water was up. So I apologize for not being precise on the setback. But from the church line, which would not endanger or encroach on the waterfront. Literal enforcement of the provision of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship because it would eliminate an emergency egress route, creating a hardship in getting in and out. It's primary, first, egress and safety is why I came up with this idea for that.
Okay, thank you. Any board members have questions regarding the criteria? In general discussion? Stephen has some questions.
Yeah, I had some problems with this application, and I'll tell you why. I had trouble reading the application and understanding the plans. They were very confusing. There were side views that had dimensions, but not sky views with proper dimensions, so it was tough for me to understand, but I did do, so I ended up doing a lot of research on it, and I have some concerns about it because the existing ground deck is very close to the water. It says 18 feet, I don't know if it's 18 feet, and with the water being low now, I mean, it doesn't look 18 feet, but the deck looks brand new and built entirely within the 50-foot setback. But I'm, I don't know if it's our purview to fight that battle. My biggest concern is with the stairwell, which is the application, and it shows it going to that existing lower deck. And so, to me, that creates a higher nonconformity. So what I suggested at the sidewalk was perhaps pulling that stairwell back so it's no closer than the end of the house to the property. I think I mentioned in a previous meeting, I'd like to propose a zoning amendment at some point during this next year, which would allow people to build stairs and open decks within the 50 feet, as long as it's not going any closer than the existing building. I think we're being a little too restrictive in some ways. So to me, I struggle with, should I argue about not even accepting the plan, or how should I approach this? And I'm only one member. I feel I can only support this if the stairwell is pulled back to the end of the house.
Okay, any other discussion?
I didn't see it, so I don't know what it currently looks like.
Yeah, no, Stephen explained it fairly well. In looking at it, I mean, we're not builders, but it appeared that there was adequate room to start the stairwell back a little further to the front of the house and then come down at whatever the proper angle is to allow it to end before the existing edge of the house. That would solve the problem.
Would that make it real steep, though?
I don't think so. I think there's enough room. The ground drops away a little bit there. So I think that would give it the little few inches it needs to keep it from being steep. The builder would have to do it according to standards anyway.
Right.
So they'd have to make it fit.
Looks like the applicant doesn't have a problem with that.
No, I'm glad Steve was there to point out that I could go back. I wasn't even, I was more focused on building a stairway to save my wife.
It wasn't a big
So she
ladder.
could get a way to get out. And honestly, I could have gone any design, even a spiral staircase. And as you said, I was looking at Jacob's ladder, but that didn't even, so.
Well, I'd like to make a comment that
Sure.
if we were to approve this application, we can approve it with a condition. And a condition relative to moving the stairway a little bit could be attached. We could approve it with that condition if we wish.
Yeah.
That could certainly be done.
And then I think the other condition, I would recommend is that he receive a shoreline permit. There was one in the packet, but I didn't see plans for it, so, working with Amber, we got in touch with the state, and he sent us the plans, and they were actually for the pergola deck on the house, on another house on the property. So he will still have to get a permit for this building.
Yep.
Stabilize.
DES permit. All right, we have to go through and vote each of the criteria before we can proceed. Is there any further discussion on what Stephen spoke up and the DES permit prior to us going through the,
Well,
sorry.
first, I think, you need to vote to accept the application.
I always do that, excuse me. We need a motion to accept the application as written, as read, then we can proceed to the criteria.
So moved.
And a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Now we can go through the criteria. And what we do in this part is to go through each criteria, we'll ask for a vote, and if anybody has any discussion on each criteria as we go. So for the first criteria, that the proposed use would not diminish surrounding property values. Would someone care to make a motion that that number one criteria was met?
I'll make a motion, it was met.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving criteria number one signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Criteria two, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest. Is there a motion for criteria two?
Move that criteria 2 has been met.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approving criteria two signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number three, granting the variance would do substantial justice because. And the motion for criteria three,
I move that the criteria for number 3 have been met.
and a second, your turn.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Number four, the use is not contrary to the spirit of the ordinance because. Criteria four requires a motion.
I move that the requirements for number 4 have been met.
You're doing all the heavy lifting tonight.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on number four? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Last but not least, number five, literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship.
I'll make a motion, we accept number 5.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That part is complete. Now, according, I think Stephen probably would be best to make a motion that the stairway be built as we discussed, and we want to be more specific than that, just if you have drawn up anything.
I haven't, but I think we want to say something like, recommend approval of variance subject to, engineer and design of the stairwell so that it doesn't land beyond the existing footprint of the structure.
All right, and also we need another DES permit
based on the current application for this particular project. Okay,
And receipt of a DES permit.
yep. All right, if you want to put that in the form of a motion, well, we can call that a motion.
Yeah, that was a motion.
All right,
Yeah.
and anybody care to second the motion? Does everybody understand what he's making a motion for?
I second that.
And any further discussion on Stephen's motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the approval motion with conditions as delineated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 30 days or 90?
30 days.
30 days. You have 30 days before you'll receive the approval from us.
No,
Or,
no.
oh, I'm sorry,
He'll-
excuse me, I get that wrong every time.
Yeah.
There's a 30-day period which persons could appeal our decision. And if you start prior to 30 days, you are in peril if anybody does appeal. And it could cause a stoppage or a reversal or whatever. But if you proceed, you're at your own risk. And our approval takes effect within 30 days. Thank you for that. Do you have any questions of us?
No, thank you for educating me, Steve.
No problem.
Learning this whole process
When you
and.
secure the DES permit, you can give
Yep,
Amber a
I
copy.
will,
You
go
can follow
through that and give you, I don't know how long it takes, I don't even know how that process works.
I don't know either. I think it's fairly quick.
I think they're
Yeah.
fairly efficient.
Yeah.
I'll be moving on,
Week or
I will
two,
be
yeah.
retired by the 1st of October,
Oh,
so I will have some
good
time
for
to do these things that I need to do. Very good, yeah, I'll, and Steve, good recommendation to keep it back. I like that, I even like it better than the initial design of the engineering guy I had come and do the look at it.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's
You're all
very good.
set. Thank you for your time.
All right, well, thank you, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
There you go. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you too.
Coming back to regular business, any correspondence? Or do we want to talk about updating draft zoning amendments?
Right, I included in your packet this, that Jen has been working on, just so that you guys could kind of see what we've been working on, looking at. It's not, Jen, that this isn't anything like set in stone as of yet, correct?
I think we're pretty much so done at this point.
Oh.
This round of, well, for these edits at least, the yellow highlights you can just disregard because the planning board saw these twice. So the yellow highlights were just indicating the changes since the first time they saw the edits. What these are is there were a series of legislative changes this year that impact planning and zoning. And so we went through the full list of bills that could potentially have an impact on zoning and or the land use regulations or development regulations. These are the amendments that are needed to be compliant with state statute or revised state statutes. I think there are other things that I know the land use department is looking to work on. And Steve, I know you mentioned the shoreline setback piece as well. So there's a other things coming, but I think the edits to these specific items, I think are done.
So, Jen, in terms of process,
Yes.
are you looking for input from us at this point? And then where does it go from here?
Sure. And I just realized I kind of sort of lied to you guys, only kind of sort of. There is one change that the board made at their meeting last week that isn't captured in this draft. And it's where multifamily is mentioned in the definition and then in housing for older persons. We didn't change in here it shows changing it from 4 to 5 units. That was to be compliant with the workforce housing statute. The planning board decided to bump that to 6. So it's not a huge change, but makes it a little bit more reasonable in terms of process. So yeah, if there are any comments, definitely you can send them directly to me. The board hasn't voted yet to move these forward. They're waiting because they know that there are other things in the works potentially as well. Typically, we will wrap up any drafts in November, vote to send them to a public hearing, hold a first public hearing in December, a second public hearing in January. No changes can be made after that second public hearing. And then the planning board would vote to send them to town meeting, and they would have their warrant articles drafted and go forward from there.
Okay, I had a list of suggested changes, and so I won't go through them tonight. I'll maybe sit down with you and
Sure.
need to go to the planning board, or just to give you an example, the new accessory structure,
Yes.
ADU. Essentially, the town is going to have to allow a second unit on any single-family residential zone. But it seems to be contained. One of the things I noticed when I read it was that the second unit had to go either in the existing house or a pre-existing structure. And so, to me, that seems kind of unfair. You may have a situation where I have 5 acres and I have a farmhouse, and I don't have a garage or anything. I want to put in a garage with an ADU on top of it. The way this is written, I wouldn't be able to, yet my neighbor, who may have a 1/4 acre piece of land and happens to have a garage, could put a unit on top. And so I think we need to maybe sometimes think about things like this. If we're gonna go this route, then make it fair for everyone, and that's only my opinion, but, so those are the types of things I noticed going through, the changes. I thought they were really well written, but I just had a few comments.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just rereading that because this is one of those ones where there's basically you're regulating through definition. So the ADU ordinance starts off with a definition, and that really sets some of the kind of standards within it. Didn't feel like it had to be within an existing structure.
Well, the way,
Yeah, attached.
it says that it has to be, well, let me find it here.
Yeah. Okay. And this language, I will admit, is entirely lifted from statute.
Yeah, it says an attached unit means a unit that is within or physically connected to the principal dwelling unit, or completely contained within a pre-existing detached structure.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem, the word pre-existing.
Pre-existing.
I think it's unfair if somebody happens to have some sort of structure they could put a unit in, but you can't start from scratch and put a unit in.
Right.
Even though
it precludes your granny pods.
Yeah.
Which I just love the word, so.
Yeah, because the impacts are gonna be the same.
Yeah.
And the benefits are gonna be the same in terms of creation, if the concept was to try to create additional affordable housing units.
Okay.
And you still have to meet the setbacks, so, I mean, it's still, everything's the same, only some people in town may not have an existing structure.
Right.
So, and, I think it's worth a discussion on a bigger level, that's all.
Okay.
I won't go through the rest of them. I'll sit down with you, Jen.
Okay.
One of the interesting things though, reading is the state coming across with only one parking unit per residential structure, and even going into multiple families and even senior housing and whatnot. I just had a situation where my mother-in-law went through the end-of-life process through the various assisted living, unassisted living, assisted living. And in every case, I know there was more than one parking space required per room, and there never was enough parking spaces, because you're talking, a lot of elderly people, even in assisted, still had their own cars, even if they didn't drive them. And you have staff and you have visitors. But I guess the state in their ultimate wisdom, let's say legislature knows best, but that's just an editorial comment.
Yeah, well, I will say that there's a line in there that does say that there's nothing that precludes the applicant from proposing more. So hopefully, in situations where more is needed, they will provide more.
I think you're giving developers too much credit.
I know, probably rose-colored glasses.
Are we all set with that portion? All right, any correspondence that we
No.
need to know about?
No.
We don't have any public comments, or somebody's lurking out there in Zumo land.
Jen's the only one on.
Yeah. And we need to approve the meetings of minutes of July 10. Anybody have any comments, read the meeting minutes?
No.
Care to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I so move.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Our next meeting date is October 9th.
Possibly.
Possibly. We might have another month's vacation.
I did
don't
get
want
a
to-
denial letter today on my desk for a building permit, so that's gonna require a variance, so I'm assuming that we will have something for October.
Okay. Anything else to come before the board?
No.
Thanking you all for your time, and I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. I'll second that. Well,
All in favor? You did good.
aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much for your time.
7:25.
Look is good. Look is good.
Not a new record, but
You like those, huh?
Not bad, though.